Welcome. My name is Kevin Douglas Berg. This is What Was They Saying blog, KDB. This is our playlist called How We Got Here Through Putin's Words. And this is our second edition. But I'll rehash real quick what we talked about before. So, Russia and Crimea, Russia and Ukraine are brothers, basically blood brothers, in nations, families, and everything. Very close. Putin had no problem with whoever they elected, as long as there's no interjection with Western powers in NATO. Putin had no problem with the conflicts they were having there at the time. This is from 2000 to 2005, so it's a while back. But they need to work it out amongst themselves, Ukrainians, or just Russians and Ukrainians and nobody else. Putin had no issues with creating an economic Soviet bloc or a bloc to have representation and some kind of say in the overall world trade commerce market, as well as what we saw is international powers already interjecting themselves into both those facets of what I just spoke of. Now we go into 2005. Above all, we should acknowledge that the collapse of the Soviet Union was a major geopolitical disaster of the century. Greatest or one of the greatest. They're looking at the vernacular. Okay? We all know that. We all know how Putin feels about that. We all know that Putin feels that the breakup was horrible. That the breakup was unbelievable. That the breakup was, I guess, heartbreaking, you could say, to him. Our objectives on the international stage are very clear: to ensure our security and our borders and create favorable external conditions for the resolution of our domestic problems. We are not inventing anything new, and we seek to make use of all the European civilization and world history have accumulated. Also certain is that Russia should continue its civilizing mission on the Eurasian continent. This mission consists of ensuring that democratic values, combined with national interests, enrich and strengthen our historic community. We consider international support for the respect of the rights of Russians abroad an issue of major importance, one that cannot be the subject of political and diplomatic bargaining. Annual address to the Federal Assembly, Kremlin. He sees what's going to happen. He understands. NATO, Western nations, other whatever, they're going to interject and speak of hey! What are you doing? Sorry. Squeaks. He pisses me off. I don't know what he's doing. Okay, anyhow. Squeaks too, really. Okay. All right. So he's already seeing what's going to happen when they try to do anything, anywhere, in Russia. We hope the new members of NATO and the European Union in the post-Soviet era will show their respect for human rights, including the rights of ethnic minorities, through their actions. Countries that do not respect and cannot guarantee human rights themselves do not have the right to demand others respect the same rights. Annual address to the Federal Assembly, Kremlin. Don't tell us what to do if you're not doing it in the first place, because that's hypocritical. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, still in 2005, folks. We think that the simple expansion of NATO is a technical process that does not bring greater security to the world. There are modern threats we are all aware of, threats such as terrorism and proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. I do not really understand exactly how a purely technical move as the expansion of NATO to take in our Baltic neighbors can bring greater security. If other former Soviet republics want to join NATO, our attitude will remain the same. But I want to stress that we will respect their choice because it is a sovereign right to decide their own defense policy. And this will not worsen relations between our countries. You want to join NATO? That's fine. Not going to hurt us. Not happy with it, but not going to hurt us. For the moment, our relations with NATO are at a level that would not make it possible for us to maintain certain defense production activities and keep certain sensitive technologies in a NATO country. And you can, for example, should it join this organization, we have to talk about all these issues in good time. Talk with each other frankly, honestly, and openly. This is what we're doing. France 3 interview transcript. You already see the little dust up here. You already see a little, this is what I'd like, this is what you'd like kind of thing. 2006, September. Our European American partners decided to support the Orange Revolution against the Constitution. First of all, the political result was very problematic, and we see how the situation developing in Ukraine. Secondly, if you already provided support and want to continue to provide support, then pay the bill. But you want political gains, and you want us to pay for them. The West wants neither to pay nor to look at the things they are reality. Valdai Discussion Club transcript, Kremlin. You break it, you buy it. 2007, February. Last year, Ukraine received energy and gas for $95, and this year for $105, despite the fact that the well-known significant political changes took place in Ukraine. But our relations with Ukraine did not deteriorate because of this. He's a man of his word. They became stronger. Stronger and more reliable, both for us and for Ukraine. We are always ready to help the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian government, and the Ukrainian president if they ask for our help. Press interview, transcript, Kremlin. Once again, 2007. I think it's obvious that the NATO expansion does not have any relation to the modernization of the alliance itself or to ensuring security in Europe. On the contrary, it represents a serious provocation that reduces the level of mutual trust. Speech and discussion at the Munich Security Conference in Kremlin. Doesn't want encroaching. Really just doesn't want him encroaching. Right here, 2007. Don't encroach. April 2008. You don't understand, George. Ukraine is not even a state. What is Ukraine? Part of its territories is Eastern Europe, but the greater part is a gift from us, Putin, to the then U.S. President George W. Bush on the sidelines of April 2008 NATO summit in Bucharest, quoted Mr. Putin, operative in the Kremlin. Why don't you just stay in your own business? You must stay in mine. Okay, here we go. Just calling it like I see it, man. Just calling it like I see it. Wait, that was 2008. Yeah, August 2008. Asked by CNN while Prime Minister, can you guarantee that Russia will never again use its forces against the neighboring state? I'm categorically opposed to the way this question is formulated. It is not we who should guarantee that we will not attack anybody. We have not attacked anyone. It is we who are demanding guarantees from others that will not attack us anymore and will not kill our citizens. And yet there are attempts to portray us as the aggressor. Interview transcript, government RU. December 2008. As regards with Ukraine, we have a complex ongoing dialogue. It is true that the Ukrainian partners have outstanding debts over $2.5 billion, which is quite an amount for Gazprom and for the country as a whole. We had reached such agreements with Ukraine in earlier years and hope they will duly abide by these agreements. But if our partners fail to honor these agreements, or as it so happened in the past, siphon off our resources from the transit pipeline illegally, we will have to reduce the feeding of the gas. What else can we do? We have no other option. Conversation with Vladimir Putin. Do a couple more quotes and then we'll sum this up. Okay, so we're at 2009 March. It seems to me the document we are talking in EU-Ukraine gas deal aimed at assisting Ukraine with its debt in exchange for increased liability of gas transit is at minimum ill-considered and unprofessional. Because to discuss such issues without the basic supplier is simply not serious. Have all the parties involved. If the interests of Russia are ignored, then we will have to start re-examining the principles of relations with our partners. Putin slams Europe over gas deal with Ukraine. 2010, December. Undoubtedly, when we were all together, we represented a much greater force. Today, the situation is different. Today, Ukraine, Belarus, and other former Soviet republics are independent. So we need to proceed from reality. Nevertheless, we can and need to facilitate economic integration for the sake of all our peoples, and we are doing this. Press conference. Transcript, government. Also December 2010. Naturally, our Ukrainian counterparts understand the economic benefits of joining this integration process. And if Ukraine does join them one way or another, this will certainly deliver important and strong momentum that will help preserve entire industries in Ukraine and will boost the competitiveness of many of our companies. But this is up to the sovereign Ukrainian people and the country's leadership to decide. Press conference. Okay, 2000. We're going to stop there at 2011. This segment. It's already starting. Human rights. If you don't follow your human rights, why do we follow ours? George W. Bush, not in a country. And it's not really your business. Belarus, other states joining NATO, that's fine. But we prefer you not to. And the expansion of NATO as a whole, we don't see that as any constructive process that brings anybody forward in this interrelations on the world stage. Puts it all out there, folks. Puts it all out there. And we are only at 2011. We have to understand why we are doing what we're doing. Or make some kind of sense out of this. Who's the aggressor? Who's the non-aggressor? Who's the agitator? Who's not the agitator? Who's the protectionist? Who's the antagonist? Gotta think. No one else is going to give it to you like this. No one. My name's Kevin Douglas Berg. This was our second edition of How We Got Here. Our march to war with Russia. Let's pray. Pray for you. Pray for me. Pray for world peace. Pray for those coming and going. Pray for those on the plane, train, automobile. Pray for those that are serving, have served, both serving, fighting with PTSD. Pray for those that are in a hospital on a better day. Pray for those that are in uniform, any first responders, anybody in a policeman, policewomen, firefighter, firewomen, rescue people. Pray for everybody that's in a hospital on a better day. Pray for all doctors. Pray for all those that are traveling on plane, train, automobile. Pray for